Thank you, Chair. Minister, I haven't yet got your opening statement and I would like to ask some questions about it. Do you know if that's been circulated yet to the committee?
No, I don't know that.
It hasn't been? No. Is it going to be?
Sure. As I spoke, so...
Oh, right, okay. Well, I look forward to being able to ask some detailed questions about some of the things you said in your opening statement, but just at a high level, I haven't attended every single Senate estimate since you were Foreign Minister, but I've attended a fair few, and I don't recall an opening statement as partisan as that one, nor do I recall any of your predecessors in this forum making such a partisan opening statement. Is there a reason why you felt the need to make such a strong statement this morning?
Well, I don't accept the premise of your question.
Well, have you ever opened Senate estimates by making multiple references to the Leader of the Opposition by name before?
Well, I think when... well, first, I don't accept the premise of your opening question. I think it is a reasonable thing to respond to some of the bellicose rhetoric, which I don't think is in Australia's interests.
This wasn't a slip-up. This wasn't a misunderstanding, and it definitely wasn't just Senate theatre. On live television, Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong was cornered by a question so simple, so basic, that refusing to answer it raised more alarm than any answer ever could. When did the government actually find out that ISIS-linked women had returned to Australia? Not might return, not wanted to return, returned. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Nobody would say. Not clearly, not directly, not even in broad terms. What started as a routine hearing turned into one of the most revealing moments of Australian politics this year. And once Senator James Paterson realised what was happening, the pressure didn't just rise, it exploded. Before we go further, quick check-in. Type where you're watching from right now, state, city or country. Let's see how far this moment travelled, because what you're about to hear isn't about politics, it's about trust.
Not having individual officers of a department that is not responsible for this badgered, particularly while you're being rude to the chairs.
Thanks.
So we are not. These questions are now being taken on notice.
Senator
Very clear.
Wong, I will not be taking lectures or advice from you about decorum in these forums.
Goodness
I've
me.
observed you over a very long period of time being incredibly assertive with colleagues on this committee and witnesses. You are literally the last person I'll take advice from. When did the department first learn that the ISIS brides had in fact returned to Australia?
I need to take that on notice to confirm.
Can you tell me whether or not it was before or after Carly Douglas from the Herald Sun broke the story on Friday afternoon last week?
Again, I'll take on notice to confirm what the department knew and when.
How about your own personal state of knowledge? Did you know prior to the publication of that article that they'd returned to Australia?
Before we continue, do us a little favour by subscribing to the channel, because over 98% of you watching haven't subscribed. It costs you nothing, not even a penny, to join this channel. Have you subscribed? Thanks so much.
Senate estimates hearings are designed to be boring. Long questions, dry answers, process-heavy language that sends most people scrolling within seconds. That's why this moment caught so many people off guard. James Paterson isn't loud, he isn't flashy, he doesn't rant, he's methodical. Across from him sat Penny Wong, one of the most senior figures in government, experienced, disciplined and usually unshakable. On paper, this should have been routine, but from the very first exchange, something felt wrong. Paterson wasn't fishing, he wasn't posturing, he was asking timeline questions, the kind of questions governments normally answer without blinking. And that's when the phrase appeared, "Take it on notice." At first, nothing unusual. Then it came again, and again and again. And that's when viewers started leaning closer to their screens. Because when basic facts get deferred repeatedly, it's never random. And Paterson noticed it too. Here's the exact issue, stripped of politics, stripped of drama. Did the department learn that ISIS-linked women had returned to Australia before the media reported it, or after? That's it. No names, no operations, no classified detail, just the source, official channels or the news. Any normal Australian would expect an answer. If your job is national coordination, you'd know. If you advise the Prime Minister, you'd know. Instead, the answers slid sideways. We'll take that on notice. I'll confirm later. I'll check the details. And every time that happened, the tension thickened. Because this wasn't a technical detail. This was the foundation of trust. Right now, be honest, if this was your job, would you expect to know the answer? Drop a quick thought in the comments before we continue, because Paterson wasn't satisfied and he wasn't about to move on. This is where the exchange turned surgical. Paterson drew a line that most people instinctively understand. Knowing someone wants to return is not the same as knowing they have returned. Monitoring intentions is one thing. Managing arrivals is something else entirely. Once someone is back on Australian soil, everything changes. Legal powers, surveillance requirements, community safety implications. Paterson explained this calmly, almost patiently. But instead of engaging with that distinction, officials blurred it. They talked about awareness. They talked about long-standing knowledge. They talked about monitoring people overseas. But they never crossed the line Paterson kept pointing to. And the more they avoided it, the more obvious it became. This wasn't confusion, it was evasion. And that's when the temperature shifted. Suddenly, the focus wasn't answers anymore, it was tone. Penny Wong accused Paterson of being rude, of badgering witnesses, of crossing lines. The chair intervened. Interruptions stacked on interruptions. And then Paterson pushed back, firmly, directly, publicly. He made it clear he wasn't asking for sensitive details. He wasn't naming officers. He wasn't asking for operations. He was asking how the government found out. And that's when it stopped being comfortable. Because when authority gets challenged in public, it's rarely about manners. It's about control. If you noticed the exact moment this hearing turned tense, tap the like button. That moment matters more than people realize. Because what came next was the real bombshell. Then Paterson asked the question no one wanted to hear out loud. Did the department find out through official government channels or through the media? That's not semantics, that's a credibility test. Because if parts of government learned about this from journalists, that's not coordination, that's failure. Suddenly, take it on notice didn't sound procedural anymore, it sounded defensive. And when reports surfaced suggesting that some senior officials may have learned via news coverage, the implications were staggering. Think about that. A national security issue, handled at the highest levels, discovered the same way the public discovered it. That's not reassurance, that's a red flag. Pause for a second. If this detail shocked you, type "This matters" in the comments, because from here on, the fallout was inevitable. Let's remove politics completely. This isn't left versus right, it's competence versus chaos. If you're a parent, this matters. If you're a veteran, this matters. If you're a police officer or first responder, this definitely matters. Monitoring high-risk individuals isn't abstract. It takes people, time, resources. And none of that works if departments can't clearly say how information flows. Trust isn't built on "don't worry," it's built on clarity. If this made you uneasy, share this video with one person you trust. These conversations only happen when people see them, because outside that room, the reaction had already begun. Let's remove politics completely. This isn't left versus right, it's competence versus chaos. If you're a parent, this matters. If you're a veteran, this matters. If you're a police officer or first responder, this definitely matters. Monitoring high-risk individuals isn't abstract. It takes people, time, resources. And none of that works if departments can't clearly say how information flows. Trust isn't built on "don't worry", it's built on clarity. If this made you uneasy, share this video with one person you trust. These conversations only happen when people see them. Because outside that room, the reaction had already begun. Clips spread within minutes, social media lit up, commentators jumped in, opposition figures escalated. State leaders were asked, "Were you informed?" Answers were cautious, carefully worded, legally safe. International observers took notice too. Australia sells itself as stable, organised, serious about security. Moments like this chip away at that image, not because of anger, but because of silence. And silence is loud. As the hearing wrapped up, nothing was resolved. No clear timeline, no clear source, no straight answer. And that's the part that lingers. In a democracy, accountability isn't optional. Take it on notice works once, maybe twice, but when it becomes the default response on public safety, people stop trusting the process. So here's the real question, not for politicians, but for you. Are you satisfied with what you heard? Or did it leave you more concerned than reassured? Drop your honest thoughts below. Not slogans, not party lines, real answers. And if you stayed to the end, you're exactly who this channel is for. Subscribe, because stories like this don't get simpler, they get louder. So here we are, hours later, still talking about it, still replaying the same exchange, not because of yelling, but because of silence. In a democracy, trust isn't built on take it on notice, it's built on clarity. So I'll ask you the same question Paterson asked, just in a different way. Are you satisfied with what you heard, or did it leave you more concerned than reassured? Drop your honest thoughts below. Not slogans, not politics, real answers. And if you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of viewer this channel is built for. Subscribe.